From the harbour lights of Carrick to the shores of far away, every heart beats Rangers, every soul will proudly say, we're the voices in the terraces, the hands that build the dream. Now the people own the Rangers, we're the lifeblood of the team. From Carrick to the mountains, to the cities around the globe, our colours fly together and the black and amber glows. We're the people's club forever, we'll sing it loud and true. Carrick Rangers owned by all, the best for me and you.
Hello, everybody. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing good. How about you, Andy?
Yeah, doing great. Excited to be on the podcast again. Really happy that we've had a lot of followers on YouTube and X and everywhere. So much appreciated for everyone following around the world. And got a special guest we'll get to later. So should be a great show.
Yes.
We're the nerd crew. You know, last week was the lighthearted, funny crew. We're more the nerd on pitch stuff here.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to follow up after last week, but we'll try to make it good as well. Don't worry, guys. We have few little things for you guys, especially with the guest tonight. You're probably going to help us do the pronunciations because we're not being good apparently about the players and other Northern Ireland's words as well. So let's kick in with the fun stuff. Not for everybody. Last game, we took a tough loss at home. So let's kick it with the highlights. I just cut it for the goals and some of the pointers. There's a few things that you can see that I did. Is gonna do a small freeze frame on the penalty that was not called. So you'll see that after the goals as well. Yeah, this one was, that was very frustrating for me to see that, how easy it was for him to get into the box. That was the second yellow. Yeah, no excuse on that one. Clear, yeah.
Looks like he got mugged in Central Park, though. Wasn't that bad?
Yeah, and this is the penalty situation. You'll see after the first frame on the second one. Right here, I'll do a freeze frame for you guys. Here, steps on his left foot. You can clearly see it. And, well, none given. It was 1-0 Crusaders. That could have been a big call for us. If we scored, obviously, we have to score the penalty. But, yeah, this is a big call and not given for us. And there's a lot of calls that I noticed throughout the game. No yellow cards given in some silly fouls on their side. So doesn't excuse the loss. I mean, the performance was not there, but there was a lot of non-calls going their way. And then a bit late at 10 men against 11. Always difficult to come back. We got a 1 goal in. So what is you guys' feedback? Let's go with Andy.
Yeah, rough to give up that goal right at the end of the first half. Nathan Gartside almost had it for us. It just barely went over the line. And then love the tactical change at the half to get Cherry and who is it? Adam Leckie came in as well and thought we were going to get some momentum going. And unfortunately, the 2 quick yellow cards turning into a red for Cherry just kind of put us back. Good effort by the team, though. That penalty should have been clearly called for us, especially given I thought it was a little harsh, the second yellow on Cherry, given the guy was dragging his arm across the field. But nice goal by Heatley to try to bring it back and almost got in it. So great effort with only 10 men for almost the entire second half.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, the last 20 minutes there, the team played really hard, which is always a good sign with the season you're going through in form with playing for your manager hard like that. It's been a little frustrating. It was interesting listening to Steven's interview afterwards about losing the battles in the midfield.
Yeah, we have.
I know that's one of the things we talk about quite a bit when we're watching games and in the forums is about our style of play, the possession. So, we don't really hold a lot of possession, which I know we're going to talk a little bit about the youth squad game, but I know they call this the beautiful game, and I noticed when we watched that senior team play, it's not as beautiful. Whereas the youth game was much better game, to be honest with you. I mean, frustrating when giving up 2 goals, but I really like Heatley a lot. What he makes up, his stature is not very big, but that guy's got a lot of heart, and he's somebody that I think can always be a leader on this team that we need to keep filtering through. We went to 9th in the table. The top 3 spots are starting to really run away with this. We got to focus on that 4th and 6th spot to meet our what we really want is to finish in the middle. We don't have high expectations, and I know we're modest. Another thing we see more and more with the ref bias, we like to joke around about the Belfast bias, but man, boy, that Crusaders team took over. Their fans took over. I just hope one day we get to that. I like to see that as well because the players really do need that. We do talk about, the game earlier this year where they didn't look very inspired. And I know some people were more frustrated by this match too, that on the inspiration. I think we have some fan support that could help.
And I think we may have lost Gene for a second, but
Somebody kidnapped John.
Yeah, but
there he is.
He was just getting some more tactical information ready for us. So, John, what were your thoughts on the game?
Very, very difficult. For me, very poor performance. If we can get the post-match, I just cut for the first 30 seconds because that was interesting what Stephen Baxter had to say about the game performance.
Stephen, a 2-1 defeat to Crusaders today. Can I get your thoughts on the game, please?
My thoughts on the game are that the first half we weren't at the races, not touch tight, not getting. We talked a lot this week and we worked hard in certain areas of the pitch. If you don't win a midfield battle, you're going to be in trouble. We lost the midfield battle considerably, and by not picking up the loose runner, and that allowed their fullbacks to.
Yeah, that was the main thing. It's what we've been discussing for a couple of games now is that battle in the midfield with those long balls. You don't give any chance in the midfield either way. And what I noticed is Crusaders kind of had the same tactic in the beginning, a lot of long balls trying to cut that midfield. And when they saw that it was not working, they shifted. The problem is we didn't shift it with Crusaders. So for me, that was the big mistake. And that's when Crusaders started building up slowly. We allowed them to build up and approach our midfield with no pressure, very easy for them, and they became more and more dangerous until the first goal. After that first goal, it was very difficult for us to keep possession or even control of the ball. What are your thoughts, Chris?
One thing I found interesting was in the interview, because I know you just, for time purposes, just did part of the interview,
Yes,
but if you listen to the rest of the interview, a couple of things I picked up on. One I thought was interesting. I think he likes a lot of openness and spacing, because he brought up the point that after the red card, being a man short, we played better. So I don't know if some things opened up. And I noticed the last 3 interviews, and I know he's coming off an injury and he was frustrated. He had to play 45 minutes. But Adam Lackey, if you go back, this is when we were like all first owners and we were all happy. And by the way, my friends in Northern Ireland, when I get pissed, that means I care. And I think I've gotten to a point when we lose, my Saturday is screwed. And it starts off really bad when we lose. So I care. So don't take it wrong when I say that. But we were 2-1, 2 wins, 1 draw when Lackey before the hamstring injury. And I think he causes a lot of spacing. And so I think that the style and tactics he's been running, that's something that's important to him.
Yeah, and I think too, Sean, Yeah, I noticed too, in rewatching some of the highlights that in particular, Joe Crow has done a really good job in kind of serving to get that ball up a little bit later when we were down to 10 men. So I'd like to see maybe if he could carry it from the backfield a little bit more up and connect with Heatley like he did. Also had a narrow miss a couple times as well. With a couple just got tipped over the end in stoppage time. So the team definitely, when they're driven, can make things happen. But agree with Baxter that the midfield, we really got to hold our possession.
Absolutely. And I was looking also in terms of performance since the beginning of the season. We started so good with 3 wins in a row. And I was looking and I'm like, man, it makes me think about somebody that's probably a lot of people know, that's supporter, that United supporter. If we can get a picture. Do you know who I'm talking about? There you go. Yes. Yes. So, so he said, it was like over a year ago already. He said, if United doesn't win 5 in a row, I'm not cutting my hair until they do. And I was like, man, we should do something like that. If let's put it to 3 wins in a row, and one of us needs to do it. It's up to you guys to decide who. Maybe Scotty. I don't know.
We should have a fan vote for that. So
no,
next week, let's get a poll.
Jokes aside, yeah, it was a funny, and I was like, let me see when we won at least 2 or 3 in a row, and he went back to the beginning of the season when we had that crazy start, 3 wins in a row. Since then, not even 2 wins in a row.
Yeah, and we were fortunate to get over Bangor, get the win. We took a Gibson goal, and at the end there. One of the things I asked in the forum was about the tactics for Stephen Baxter, and because he's been around a long time, and a lot of the players, I was told from some of the people that have been with the team following a long time, these are some of the same players he had at Crusaders that he has on this squad. So I don't know if he has a lot of faith and trust in certain players, but I don't know. When you lose a game, it's easy for everybody to go after the manager, right? That's what fans want to go after. But I'm from the school of like American football with the Patriots. Belichick was always the greatest coach in the NFL, but as soon as Tom Brady left, he won somewhere else, and now in New England, he's terrible in North Carolina. He's doing bad. So you do need players as well. So,
True.
That's why I can't wait for the interview tonight, because I feel that's a lot of our hope. And one word I like to use in sports, and I'm a big University of Houston basketball fan, so culture is a big thing. I think that's one of the things with us establishing with a new owner is culture. And I've looked at the table today for the under 20 team, because I know we're going to talk about that. And they're last 2. Not that it's important and we want to develop it. I want to see us start to develop a winning culture. The culture needs to be established.
Well, it's time to get our guest. Andy, do you want to introduce our guest for today?
Sure. Yeah, we are very happy to have Jill, who's a director and board member with Carrick Rangers. Also involved previously with the under 18 team and the under 20 team, and very happy to have him to talk about some of our prospects, as Chris mentioned, and talk about the future of Rangers.
Evening, guys.
Hey,
Well, hi, Jody.
everybody's
Welcome.
Everybody's looking forward to your interview.
If Stephen's available.
Well, I mean, first of all, let me just say I'm absolutely delighted to be on. I have been a fan of this podcast from the first show. So, seeing Michael Becker sort of week 2 was a big highlight as well for me, because I'd met him in Belfast. So, I was excited to get on and delighted to be asked by yourselves to come on board and do this tonight. So looking forward to seeing what you've got organized for me.
Okay. Well, first off, thank you for taking the time, because isn't it like past midnight your time?
Yeah, we're at 4:15 midnight over here.
Well, thank you so much. That's already means a lot to us, and thank you for joining. And to to tell all the viewers that are watching, you don't know what we're gonna ask you, right? You didn't prepare any questions or anything. We didn't send you anything.
No, to be honest, I was just pleased to get asked to be on. So, work away. You can ask me anything, and I will try to answer as honestly as possible.
Perfect. That's what we want. Maybe some spicy ones coming your way then.
That's fine. That's fine.
We'll see. We'll see. We have a ton of questions. Every one of us. We were very excited to have you on. So let's do a quick introduction, like 2 to 3 minutes. You don't have to tell all your entire life. Mostly the football part, the football side of your career.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm a Carrickfergus lad, and in the early days, as everybody in them sort of times did, you obviously played boys club football, and then I was lucky enough to go in and play in the Irish League. Made my debut for Linfield, then suffered a horrendous broken leg, come back from it, moved to Bangor, and then sort of finished my career, if you want, in the Irish League at Larne, and suffered sort of another 2 horrendous Achilles tears. So that put the end of that. So went into coaching, as most people do and should do. I went and started a football academy through our local church, and it was a small-sided games academy. We had 400 odd kids involved in the academy then. My own 2 lads were involved, and just when it got to the stage where they were going to 11-a-side, it was time to look for, an academy for them to go and play and further their careers, moving into 11-a-side football. And you look at the Linfields, you look at the Glentorrans, you look at that, but being a Carrickfergus lad, it was a simple enough choice. Let's bring them both to Carrick and start off there again. So they joined the Carrick Academy, and I was, again, like probably you all are, or like everybody is, you're a dad that you want to sort of live your dreams through the boys. So I stood and quite happily watched, and then somebody decided that you've played Irish League football and you can coach. Why don't you become a coach at Carrick Rangers? So that's where this journey started. That's where the journey started. I spoke to the academy chairman at the time and other managers, and they said, come in and join. And the rest, as they say, is history. I started off with the under-15s, then went back into the under-11s, and then sort of moved into the sort of NIFL 16s, and went from there, basically.
And now, so everybody understands, you're coaching the highest level of the academy, correct?
Yeah. So I went from under 16s, and then the natural progression is to move to the under 18s, and then spent sort of 2 years at the under 18s. In between all that sort of time, Peter Clark, who's the current chairman, asked me to come on board and become a board member as well. So had to sort of manage the time between the under 18s and also coaching in the academy, and then also sort of doing some board work. And then at the October last year, just between the time when Stuart Keane went and before Stephen came on, took over at the under 20s because the manager left with obviously the previous manager, and I was asked to step in and help out for 6 weeks until they got somebody in, and been there ever since.
So far nobody they didn't find anybody.
Well, I think it was a case of Stephen then came in and brought his team in, and I was there. He felt that I knew the players. I brought the players from 15s, 16s,
Yeah,
into
absolutely.
18s, and we had we had and I'll be open and honest with you, we had a blockage of 18s moving into the 20s because we had a lot of older 20s players that were basically sitting there, quite happily sitting in the 20s, but were never going to play first team football. So we had a meeting with Stephen very early on, and he gave me the free rein to basically say, go and get rid of the older players that aren't going to make my first team, and play the youth. And he was a firm believer in playing the youth and progressing them. And 20s football has now become a very much a young league. So he said, my only remit for you is to produce 1, 2, 3 players that can play in our first team. So, that was a straightforward remit. Go and do that. So that's what we're trying.
So you already answered one of my questions in that regards for your relationship with the Baxter and how you guys bridge the gap between the academy and the first team, especially the U20s, which is the smallest gap that you have. And usually, if you look at the academy and your staff, how big is your staff? Are you surrounded by a lot of people or just 2 or 3?
For me,
Yeah, for you.
For me, the structure I have is I have 2 guys that help me out, but I'm then also involved in Stephen's first team staff. So it's a very close knit organization that I'm in the group. So every conversation that Stephen has with regard to first team players moving or players moving from the 20s up involves all of us. And then we subsequently look down the academy to the 18s, to the 16s, and then that's where I draw my pool of players from. So there's like 2, 3 guys in the 18s, 2, 3 guys in the 16s. And then we also work with the academy committee to basically make sure that all these young players are pushing and progressing in the right direction, ultimately to get close or get near first team training.
First team. And in terms of selection, whose has the last word? Is it Baxter, or you can push for a kid to be like, hey, you know what, this kid is really good. You should give him a couple minutes in the first squad?
Again, that would be a conversation that we would have on a regular basis. So Stephen would ask me to play senior players that are coming back from injury or players that maybe just need confidence with game time. So there would be senior players, as I'm sure you've seen in the makeup of the 20s team, that would sort of come and play for the 20s. But if we see a player that we feel can handle moving into the first team training, then that's a conversation where we would go with Stephen and his staff and say, you really have to have a look at this guy because we feel he can step up and make the mark within first team training.
Okay.
A couple of the boys that have made it into first team training and ultimately onto the pitch, Stephen actually selected himself in the aspect of he comes to the games and he watches and he knows all the players that's in that potential training segment. So he knows all the players. So for the likes of Cody, James and Daniel, who have made it into the first team training at the minute, that was Stephen watching the game and instantly just sort of said, Jody, if it's okay with you, I would like them guys to come in and train with the first team, and I ain't going to turn around and say, I'm sorry, Stephen, you're not getting them. For us and the academy, that's a major step forward, and exactly why we're sort of doing the things we done, and the reason we made the decision to get rid of the older players so that these younger players could make that step. And ultimately, with them training with the first team, it ultimately makes them better. And whenever they do come and play 20s and 18s, it makes all the rest of the players lift their whole performance because they want to be at that level. So it's a win-win all over the place.
Well, that's really good to hear. I think we lost Sean for a second, but it's really encouraging to hear, especially that Baxter was involved in seeing Cody James and Daniel's progress. Seen a lot of great sparks from them for the games that we've seen so far, and hoping to get them a lot more involved in the future. And Sean is back. So
I thought with John disappeared, that was the end of the difficult questions.
John, if you want to take
Jody, John took my first question there, but I have 4 quick questions here for you.
Okay.
What are some of the biggest challenges you and the organization face in recruiting and retaining the local talent?
Okay, great question. And I've heard you, Chris, in the town hall with regard to this Belfast bias. Young fellas feel that they have a greater opportunity if they go to the likes of the Linfield, the Glentorans, the Cliftonvilles, the Crusaders. So that's the big challenge for us, to keep the local lads in the game in Carrick. So we have to have that ability to be able to promote the aspect of there is a pathway for them to be able to move very quickly from 18s to 20s and into a first team setup. If you go at that age to the Linfield, Glentoran, the 4 Belfasty clubs, you're not being given the same opportunities, I wouldn't have thought, unless you are exceptional. Whereas if we can keep the local talent and show that there is a pathway going to the first team, that's a major drawing process for us to bring players to this academy. And the fact of, Daniel, Cody, Jack Boyd, previously to that, Josh Andrews, who's out on loan, these are all examples that we can use to push people on.
Thanks. It does seem like an advantage. It kind of reminds me of some of the players that have dual nationality that can make one of their national men's team a lot easier than one of the bigger European clubs. So yeah. That's good to know. Another question I have: how do you and Stephen, when you talk, balance winning youth games versus the long-term development? I know we want to establish a winning culture too, but not expensive development. So how do you guys juggle that fine line?
The 20s league traditionally would have been for those likes of older players that are not playing first team football, would have just automatically played 20s. The 20s league now, and all the sort of managers like myself throughout all the teams, aren't sort of now focusing on winning leagues. It's more developing the players. So yes, we understand that we all want to win football matches. That's a given. But for us, if we can put somebody into the first team and he remains in the first team, well then that's a bigger win for us personally, rather than winning a development league. But yes, as a pride thing, you do want to win football matches. So it's a balance that we try and work, that Stephen gives us the players that are maybe not playing in the first team as much to get them game time. And when these older players come down, that helps A, win football matches, and B, brings the young players up into that sort of standard that we're trying to achieve to win football matches.
Thanks. Got two more questions. I'll quit hogging it here, but
Okay.
I noticed like Northern Ireland's ranked like 59th in the FIFA rankings worldly, and I know that's usually the ultimate dream for a player from Northern Ireland to play for his men's national team. So looking at the big picture, starting at the youth level, what if you could change one thing about youth football in Northern Ireland, what would it be?
That there's not the same focus on sending players from Northern Ireland across the water. A lot of the Northern Ireland players, youth level, are being selected from teams that they play for in England. One big thing for me was, I think that Northern Ireland football should have a collection of at least 3 to 4 players that play in this country.
Okay, great.
Hopefully that answers it. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, good.
That's just
My
from
next question is here, what part do the schools in the local area in Carrickfergus play as far as the grassroots movement and partnerships with the club? Do you have partnerships with the schools?
That's an area where we're trying to develop at the minute. Because as you see where we sit, we are sort of in between the Belfast and in between the Larne area, and they at this minute in time are better than they will come into the Carrickfergus schools and promote their club, and that's where we have to at this minute in time improve on. And again, coming just my own opinion, players and coaches like ourselves should be in them schools and dipping into that local talent of players. I mean, you know, there's 4 boys that we would be looking at in the Carrickfergus area, all travel and play for Linfield. So, you know, we need to be targeting. I agree with you. We need to be targeting local schools, the local boys clubs, to be bringing players in.
Is there a plan in place for that, or any thoughts that you have on being able to overcome those hurdles?
Yeah, I mean, it's a conversation that is ongoing with the academy chairman and the academy committee to use the players that are based, you know, the Joe Crows and people like that who are based in the area, to go in and go into the schools. So yes, it's an ongoing plan. It's getting the people behind it to do it. I mean, we are all volunteers at the club, so it's just getting the personnel and the correct personnel in to get that basically off the ground and up and running. You know, as we said at the start, I'm on the board. I'm also in the 20s. I also help out in the Michael Becker coded owners box on match days. So we all have many hats that we wear. So yeah, if we can get the structure in place, and I think a lot of that comes. I'm probably going off a bit topic, and probably there is more sort of sticky questions for me, but I think a lot of that comes from we get the structure in place, and that can help with you guys from sitting afar, and from the investment. You know, the investment that you guys are making into the club is helping immensely, because it's allowing the the Peter and the Michaels to set the structures in around the background, and it's also then helping the first team and the 20s and the academy to build their budgets and build their structures. So I think this is a very lucrative, valuable asset that you guys are bringing to it, and also a level of thought process that maybe we are meant to be doing, or we're doing, and getting questioned on it from afar is sharpening our brains on it as well. So I think this is a very, very positive relationship that we all have going here.
Thank you.
Don't know if that answers your question totally, but I just think we can get the structure in place if all this continues and we're all pulling in the right direction. But bearing in mind, we are all still sort of like the volunteers, that side of things.
We lost John again. Andy, do you have questions?
Yeah, thanks. I promise I'm not going to be. I'm a little more on the lighter side sometimes, but kind of to piggyback off of that. I know you're good friends with Michael Becker after his trip, and we had him on the podcast the second week, as you saw. And he was a wonderful guest. We're hoping to have him back soon. He gave a lot of perspective on where there was maybe some misconceptions, or especially for a lot of us to understand that a lot of members with the team are volunteers and in the community really trying to help out. Is there anything else that maybe we should know as international fans, that or maybe in some of the chats like on Town Hall or Fan Plus, that you've kind of seen in conversation that maybe you wanted to share with our international viewers that might give us a little more perspective? Or I know sometimes we're gung-ho to really jump in full speed ahead and do all these grand plans, but I know you all in the community have been working very hard, and likewise, if there's anything we can do to support, maybe if you had any ideas what we can do from afar.
No, as I just touched on, I think that I love the town hall. I love the town hall questions, and Chris had said about sometimes getting a bit spiky on it, but that's because he cares. The chants and the songs and this new international supporters club. This is all brilliant. This is all exactly what you're looking for to push the club forward. And as I said, the Plus fans, the investors, the international fans, if Stephen looks after the playing side and he has his budget and doing all that, and if we're all in the background as a combined unit helping that and sorting the infrastructure out there, when this new stadium comes along, we'll all be singing off the same hymn sheet. Everything will be there. We'll be ready to go. As I say, the supporters club, push that on. That's fantastic. The summit that there's talk with Michael Smith about he's all coming over here in March. That can only be good, because it allows you to see what's happening actually over here, and it gives us a better understanding of the way you guys want to be involved. So we can only enhance that and work hand in hand with that. So I'm all for that. Just last June, Michael had the idea, Michael Smith has had the idea that we go out to the States and see how they do things. We went out to Charlotte in the MLS, and then we went to some MLS Next Pro clubs to see how they work and to see how they operate with the fans. And that for us was a brilliant experience. We learned an awful lot coming back from that. And I know one of the topics is about how away support outsing us how it looks always as if away support is more than our home pitch, our home support. But that's because at this minute in time, we've given them the freedom to stand where they want. And you remember, there's a lot of lifelong supporters here, and some of them like watching from the dugout, and some of them like watching from behind the dugout, and some of them watching the stand. And so very often we have probably more support than the away. It's just because they sort of congregate together. So very often that's how it looks. But again, all the ideas that you guys are putting forward, nobody's going to say this is a silly idea, this is stupid, this is whatever. Everything will be taken on board and looked at, because there's no wrong answers in this. And we're all in this for the betterment of the first team and to push the club forward. So if I'm talking too much, guys, you can shut me up and want to ask me.
That's good.
No,
All that information.
Carry the show.
yeah.
More spiky questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can be a bit more technical in terms of training with the boys and everything. Do you plan on your own, or is there like a matching schedule planning with the first team? Because I work with the B teams, and most often we do.
Okay, so for us, again, because we have quite a lot of young players, I'm in the first team group. I'm in the Stephen Baxter's staff group. Okay. So every training night that they do is pre-planned. So going forward, they his assistant manager Peter puts up the planning of what the training is going to be each week, and we replicate that with my squad. Okay. So at the minute, their training nights are obviously the Tuesdays and the Thursdays. So they will know on, if they're training on a Tuesday night, they will know on a Monday what exactly to the minute their training will be, as in the rondos, warm-ups, light work, box work, corner routines. They will know that, and we are expected then to replicate exactly what they're doing, so that my players in the 20s and the 18s, that if they do get the opportunity of pushing into the first team, they are not left exposed and know exactly what the training is going to be going forward.
Okay. And in terms of, that's interesting that you say that, because the youth squad doesn't meet always the same kind of team that the first team meets. So in terms of tactical approach, so you said you replicate, but isn't it sometimes kind of confusing for the kids, for the boys? And I know, because I train with them every day too, and sometimes it can be confusing when they keep jumping first team back to B team in terms of purely tactical aspect.
Tactical aspects in the 20s don't matter as much. It's more about the individual performances, because we have Cody and we have Daniel who are now probably training, and Jack Boyd, to be fair, are training full time with the first team. So whenever they drop back into the 20s, they're giving more a specific role to do, rather than the way the first team will play, because ours dictates on the rest of the players. So the rest of the players maybe aren't at the first team level at that stage. So what we're just trying to do is replicate the training to the level that, or the drills that they can do at that level, but it may be not done at the same impact as what the first team are doing. But ultimately then, when Cody, Daniel, Jack drop into the 20s, they will just play as in their preferred positions as per the way I've set it up, more so than replicate what exactly is the first team doing.
And looks like we lost Jean again.
John doesn't like my answers tonight.
No, he's getting too technical. Was gonna ask off of that. You mentioned Cody and Daniel, and then also Jack Boyd had a great goal in the game earlier this week.
Yeah.
Are there any other players to look out for in the near future that you think might be the next ones to come up to the senior team?
Yeah. There, as of last Monday night's game, there was another young fella, Caleb Hawthorne, who Stephen again. They give us full support, so they were sitting watching the whole game as well, and then Stephen rang me on the Tuesday. Yeah, Stephen rang me on the Tuesday. The Wednesday, and asked could Caleb come in and train with the first team off the back of his performance on the Monday night. So he is fully aware of all the players. He watches all the games. So yeah, probably that would say he will be the next one that sort of will step into this training aspect. Me, I would like another 3 or 4, but we just have to make sure they're ready to get into that stage. But probably Caleb will be the next one that's moving up in that rank.
Yes. And I apologize. I don't know what's going on with the stream. All my connection is fine. I can see everything, but it keeps dropping on me. I don't know. In terms of scouting, you guys don't have scouts. Do you have scouts?
At the 20s, no.
Okay, that's what I.
But the purposes of us is you're always scouting anyway, because
Mm-hmm.
every you're playing, you're looking at their players with the potential of hopefully that they'll come at a later date.
So the follow-up question is how hard it is when you see a player, let's say the youth squad of Linfield, for example,
Yeah.
and you approach him. What are the chances of him saying, okay, you know what, I'll join Carrick, versus Linfield, which obviously they can say, hey, if you keep doing good, you can move up to the first team of Linfield. So how do we leverage? How do we counter that offer?
We counter that offer in the fact of that's where I would get Stephen involved, because at the minute I can only offer the 20s football with the pathway, and as I say, bringing the Codys and Daniels into it, it shows that there is a pathway and there is working. So from the point of view of scouting the players and taking that Linfield player to come to Carrick, it's selling the pathway that enables him to have the best opportunity to play first team football in the Irish League. It's going to be at Carrick, because Linfield, Glentoran, Coleraine will predominantly bring the kids onto that level, but ultimately it's about the success there. So they'll just go in and buy the players in over the top of it. So from the youth point of view, I feel Carrick has a better opportunity pathway to get near the first team.
Okay. And do you have any examples or any success that we had with maybe a youth player from another team, and we're like, hey, that would be good to join, not from our ranks, not from our own youth? Have you seen any or tried to
Yeah, I mean, let's say the January transfer window is coming up, and we are already, without going too far into it, talking to people. So maybe if you have me back on in January, we will be able to give you more clear-cut examples. But at this minute in time, I don't think it's appropriate to.
No, of course. Yeah, I know.
Mention names.
Okay, but it is a possibility. That's what
it is a possibility. Yeah. I mean, I've sort of hinted earlier on that we know that there is local players that are from Carrick and they're playing for different clubs. Exactly, so that might well be on the radar if people do homeworks and that's where you would sort of look, come and play for your local club.
Yeah, no, that's good. And what are your expectations there? Where do you see the academy going in the next 5 years? I know there's the new stadium coming in. Is there an improvement also on the academy side for all that funding?
Yes, yes. And again, the international fans, the investment and the investors and this Plus Fan organization, this all helps. This, we have created probably outside of your top 4 clubs, we have created a jealousy factor that other teams ask us how yous are doing it. How do the international fans interact? How are they going? And we're very coy in not giving a lot of information away. But the whole, with you guys being involved and Peter and Michael putting the structure in place on that side of things, we're sitting with probably outside the Belfast clubs, one of the best academies, structurally wise and facilities wise. And with the new stadium coming on board, that's only going to improve further. So for the next 5 years, I would expect us to seriously take a big step forward. And also, I think to compete, you have to be looking at a full-time academy, like
that would be good,
the
yeah.
scholarship program, like the Lawrence are doing, like the Linfields are doing. And I feel it has to be in the plan somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I think in order to be successful and be able to compete at the same level, we have to.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. Yeah. Again, that draws, people look at the Linfields and the Glentorrans and they see the full-time academies and kids want to go there for the scholarship programs. So that's where we have to give them a greater incentive to come to Carrick. And facilities wise, and and having the best facilities draws people in as well.
No, of course, absolutely. That's what we're excited about it.
Opportunities that maybe we don't. I know Michael Smith. He's talking to universities in the States. And what's to stop a guy coming into Carrick and playing, and maybe then going and furthering his education in the States?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And playing out there on the scholarship program, and then coming back in ready to walk into Carrick's first team.
Yeah, there's plenty of players here in US, and they would love to have an European experience.
Yeah.
So that would be so easy. We're checking the draft and the college players, and so many that don't get picked and have so much potential. So absolutely.
And again, that was part of the conversation of us moving to the States last year and going around the MLS Next Pro and universities to talk about that. As you've just said, John, people want to come in and play European football, and if we can give them opportunities like that at Carrick, they'll go back and sell that in the States and say, go to Carrick Rangers, look what you can get.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We've tried to do it in the women's program with bringing some of the girls over to play. So why not on the men's section? And I'm happy to have them in the 20s.
Jody, I have a question there. It's been a long time, so it's probably changed. You used to be an intermediary, an agent. And so what are the Northern Ireland citizenship rules if you do want to bring somebody over from the U.S.? So, sir, I know the league itself doesn't have international restrictions really, but is that something it sounds like we're looking in other countries, but is there citizenship rules? Can they only stay in the academy for a certain amount of time? I know when you're a minor, you have to be enrolled in a school to be able to come over, but how's that dynamic work with the country?
Yeah, you need international clearance, and that's probably why it hasn't happened at this minute in time. It's something that Michael Smith has wanted to happen, and has looked at a couple of players, possibly previously before Stephen has looked at a couple of players that wanted to come across, but the international clearance was too difficult for them to get. So, you know, ideally, you want a Northern Irish American with a British passport that can play MLS Next Pro or MLS and just step on the plane and play for Carrick. That would be ideal.
Yeah, that's
since we're, you know, we have a lot of volunteers in the scouting area and all that, and we're on a limited budget pretty much. Does the organization have any like, since analytics has become a really big deal in the Moneyball phase, do we have any programs we use for scouting when we can't go in person, or how does that? Do we have anything like that?
Yes, at the minute. At the minute, we're using an eyeball program and a Y Scout program to look at all that, and obviously everybody's data is uploaded onto that. But good thing about that is every club's data and every club's player is uploaded onto that, so we can draw it down from that. But again, it's a volunteer type of basis. You know, we have a media team which are pretty stretched at the minute, so all volunteers and that side of thing would be good, but they're able to draw down all the players that are coming out of contracts within Europe and that. But I know Richard has said that all volunteers on that side of things would be absolutely brilliant to try and come on board with. So Chris, if you're offering, that would be super.
You go.
I'm ready to move there and work for the club. So I'd love to be there. So when we scout, do we ever think outside the box? Let's say you see a kid there that's like 6'2", 6'3", really pacey, but he's weak on the technical side. Is that something you guys usually would bring in, a player like that? And because of you see his parents have good size and he's an athlete, that you could teach the technical side too and develop him?
Are we talking about from academy and 20s? Or are we talking about Stephen in the first team?
Just talking like there's a school there and there's a kid that he's not a serious player, but he's 6'3" already at the age of 15. And you're like, he's fast and he plays a little recreational, but is this somebody you could develop? Just kind of thinking outside the box, because that sounds like a prospect from the standpoint he looks the part. Is that ever something we ever look at?
It is, yes. And I think with Northern Ireland being a small country, this player will be already known because he will be a friend of a friend of a friend. So we sort of know every player that's out there at the moment, or recreational or not, because there's always somebody that will recommend somebody to you and say, go and get this kid. He's, as you say, 6'2" and can score goals for fun, but you know, he can't hit a ball. So yeah, it is something that will not be disregarded, and will certainly he will be known to us in some shape or form. If we're talking about Stephen and his staff, they do the admin work months, years, and they know every single player in every single team in every age group, because I go to them and say, what about this player? And they go, oh yeah, great player, know about him already, can't defend. Okay, move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, to be a small country, it's probably easier in terms of looking at the pool of talent and potential players that you guys have. By any chance, do you guys look also in Ireland, Republic of Ireland?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because they have some nice academies there too.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do as well. We're linking. We're trying to link with a Southern Irish team at the minute.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Well, you answered.
You know, but coming back to you know, we feel that there's a pool of talent out there. You know, why can't we go to the States and bring people in?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't want to cut you guys off, but we're almost at the end. Thank you so much, Jody, man. It's already 1 a.m. We don't want to keep you this late, but you're going to have to come back. You have to promise.
Hey, I could talk football all
night. Yeah, I know.
Me too.
But we have to let you go. Probably January. I have some nice questions once that transfer window is opening. But thank you again, Jody. Do you guys have any more questions before we let him go?
Maybe just one to end on
go
a
ahead.
lighthearted note. I was just going to ask. A lot of us are planning to come out to March for the Owner Summit. Was wondering if there's any bars around Carrickfergus or Belfast that are kind of more the Rangers' hometown and where we can buy you a pint.
I couldn't possibly answer that question. I don't know any bars.
It's too busy. It's too busy for bars. There's no time.
I would say just get yourselves over here, and I'm sure there'll be a Guinness for you at one of the many bars that you could possibly frequent whenever you arrive here.
Excellent. Well, thank you. I will have a 0.0 and buy you all the real thing, but appreciate it. We're very much looking forward to having you on again, and also to hopefully meet with you in person in March.
Yeah, guys, as I say, we're all looking forward to you coming across.
Yeah.
I think it's only going to be a great partnership going forward.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hey, it was great. Thank you for coming on again, and
Yes.
we look forward to meeting you in March for sure. So, and
Yes.
there's a lot of pressure on you to be the savior of the club, so we don't have to go out to the transfer market.
Too much. No. Thank you so much, Jody. And before we wrap this up, we just want to remind everybody the upcoming games, 2 important games. One tomorrow. Thank you, Stephen, against Glentoran at the Oval. So it's a away game. And then another very big one, a semi-final on Tuesday against Larne. So it's going to be on Tuesday, the 18th, next week. And that's a big one because winning that one will move to the final. And that's a nice one to play. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jody. And hopefully we'll see you very soon.